with that, I will pass it off to our very special guest, Jesse. Those that don't know, we've actually been in partnership with him for a while, and we've had some success. And so he's kind enough to kind of come on board and share some knowledge and some things that he's got going on with the team. So Jesse, go ahead and take it away, brother.
Hey everybody, thanks for having me in. So my name is Jesse Powur, the founder of Telecentric. That's the call center that I'm sitting in right now. We do calls, started in solar, I guess it was 2017. I got serious about it in 2019 when I got to meet Michael O'Donnell. Some of you guys might know who Mike is. And I did a lot of appointment setting directly for Mike. And he helped me kind of learn how to really take it seriously and do it. And after 2019 is when I really started turning it into a business and doing outsourcing and hiring people in the Philippines. And then I moved over here 4 months ago. So I live here now. I've had this dream that I want to put up this call center. That's what we're doing. So we're sitting here making solar appointments, selling leads, data, dialers, and doing solar appointments. So we're doing all kinds of different stuff to help support the solar industry. But I think the reason why Bo and Anthony brought me in today was to talk to you guys about pretty much how to set a good, solid, quality solar appointment. So that's what I'm going to do, is talk to you about kind of what it takes, some of the attitude and scripting that you need in order to be able to set a quality solar appointment over the phone. So that's what we're doing. And yeah, I'm going to share my screen. I've got a script that I'm going to pull up right here. So this script, guys, I came up with this script directly with Mr. O'Donnell. I'm still in his mastermind. I go a couple times a week. They have it like every day. And we were actually going over this script, my script, in his call about a month and a half ago and tweaking it. So this is kind of what we came up with. It's a little long. Some people don't want to say the whole thing, but it's shorter than other scripts out there. So I think it's a good script. We recommend that when you're making calls, you be loud on the phone. Literally, if you have music playing in the background, you have noise canceling headset, you have noise canceling software, like I'm using a Logitech right now, a basic headset, but it does have noise canceling. And then I also use Crisp when I'm making calls. Crisp is a really good software, KRISP. It's $12 a month. And I mean, you guys can't hear me clapping my hands or any of the other noise that's going on in this call center right now. And we've got loud music playing because the Crisp is on, but you guys can hear me pretty clearly, right? Yeah, but you can't hear anything else. So it's really good. And that way you can be loud on the phone and it's not going to disturb your neighbor, or you can have music in the background. And that helps, having music in the background and stuff and keeping your attitude up. Also, when you're making calls, I really recommend that if you're actually going to do it, if you're going to sit down on a dialer, or even if you're manually dialing, that you turn off your Facebook. I mean, don't have other tabs open. Like if I was going to sit down and make calls here, I would just pull up my dialer, and my script is built into the dialer. I wouldn't have any of these other tabs open. I would just have the dialer open so that you can sit down and focus. Whenever I used to only make calls for a living and that's all I did, it was crucial that I just did not have other tabs open. If you're literally looking at Facebook and messing around while you're trying to do this, it's not going to work for you as well. Another thing is you want to block time to actually sit down and put 4 or 5 hours in. If you're going to be making calls over the phone, trying to set solar appointments, it's not easy work necessarily. I mean, it's not hard, but it's time consuming. And that's one thing that people sometimes don't get. If you get 1 or 2 appointments out of a 5-hour calling session, it's worth it. But you're going to get beat up over the phone. You're going to get all type of renters and people telling you not interested and all that stuff. But if you get 2 appointments in a 5-hour session of that, then what would you rather do? Go out and knock doors in the heat, or sit down and get a couple of solid appointments over the phone? So, but you need a time block. 4 or 5 hours is my recommendation. I'm pretty good at it. I made 4 appointments the other day, and 80 calls took me about an hour. If you're new, maybe it's going to take you 4 or 5 hours to set a couple of appointments. But when you get, better at it, then you'll be able to set more. But I wouldn't just go into it, half-heartedly and say, hey, I'm going to make calls for 30 minutes and then take a break and that kind of a thing. I would really just treat it like a job. And most of the stuff I'm going to tell you guys today is basic, because really solar appointment setting is basic. I think every part of this business is pretty basic. It's just like the sign on the back of my chair says, faith without work is dead. There's no S on there. That's a misquote on purpose. So that's because, you can believe that you're going to be successful and all that. I believe I'm going to have the world's largest solar call center, and it's going to happen. But the only reason it's going to happen is because the work. So if you guys want to sit down and do the work of making solar appointments, then you're going to have solar appointments. And that's what it comes down to. So here's our script. When you're using a dialer, you need to speak right away to make sure there's somebody on the phone. So you'd be like, yes, hello. Even though that's not necessarily part of the pitch, it kind of is, but that's just to make sure that the dialer is working. It's just a practical thing. And once you know somebody's on the line, that's when you proceed. We've done it both ways to where we use the first name but right now, in Mike's mastermind, he's teaching all of us to use the last name. He wants us to use the last name. And usually that's kind of counterintuitive because for the longest time, all the sales guys that I've always worked with and stuff, they want to try to use the first name, try to make it personal. But he says because we are trying to sound official and we're going to tell them about a new law and we're representatives, in this kind of a thing for the program that's going to save them money, that we should use their last name. So we're using it and it's working. So you can either, yes, hello, John, like you could do that. Or you could just do yes, hello, Mr. Smith. Either way is probably fine. Mike thinks we should be using the last name. So that's what we're doing. The very next thing you want to say is, I only have a minute, because they already want to get you off the phone. And now you've already told them that you're going to get off the phone. So that's the very next thing that you want to say. And then you want to get your little next paragraph out. So that way, they feel like maybe they should listen to you. Now, this is an interesting approach because, guys, when we applied this, when we started saying, I'm actually one of the owners. So I'll just say it. Yes, hello, Mr. Smith. Hey, I've only got a minute. My name is Jesse. I'm actually one of the owners of the Zero Down Solar Program. You've probably heard of us. We are representatives for the #1 solar project in the United States. When we started having the people in my call center refer to themselves as an owner, it really helped people stay on the phone and we got more appointments. And I'm going to show you guys how well this software works. Check this out. So now you can probably hear all the background noise, right? Call center is pretty loud. No? Well, so these headsets are pretty good at canceling anyway. I turned crisp off for a minute, but it's really loud in here. And but at any rate, people are yelling into the phone, and that's how I like to do it as well. I tell people they need to yell into the phone. But when we started referring to ourselves as owners, the call time got longer and we set more appointments. And I mean, I'm using people in the Philippines to make these appointments, and we've always felt like, hey, how can we maximize that? And when we did this, it's almost like we're painting the picture that, this person on the other end, yes, they have an accent, they sound Filipino, or maybe some people think they sound Hispanic, but now they're thinking maybe this person is sitting in the United States owning a solar company. I'm working at maybe Target. They're thinking, and this is a solar owner, maybe I should listen to them for a minute. And the accent doesn't really matter as much anymore. We noticed a big improvement when we started referring to ourselves as owners. And I like to tell the truth about things. So, I mean, on the bottom of this, it says never tell a lie. So I do believe this is a true statement, because the Zero Down Solar Program is not really a company. It's something I came up with in 2019. And it's just the name of a way that people buy solar, which is the Zero Down way. And it happens to be the largest way in the United States. So what they're thinking and what is actually being said is probably two different things, but that doesn't make it a lie. I believe these are all true statements, because I give my telemarketers a commission, just like a JV partner, so they can honestly refer to themselves as an owner, and all of you guys can do the same thing because you're all independent contractors. So yes, hello, Mr. Smith. I only have a minute. My name is Jesse. I'm one of the owners of the Zero Down Solar Program. You've probably heard of us. We are representatives for the #1 solar project in the United States. I'm actually calling about the new law. I'm sure you've heard about that as well, the one that's going to cause your bill to double and double again. And of course, they're going to cut you off and stuff, guys, and you're going to have to be able to handle yourself. You're not just going to run through this like a freight train. You're going to talk to the people in between and stuff like that. But you are kind of going to run through this part like a freight train and get this out, because it gets established like, hey, you've only got a minute. Yeah, they know who you are and what you're doing now, and then you can get this out as well. And then hopefully they'll let you get the rest of your pitch in and you can set a solar appointment. But, unprecedented inflation is not only coming, it's already here. Fossil fuel-based electricity is being taxed out of existence. The only way to stop the increases is to go solar now. more than 500 of your neighbors just went solar. Also a very true statement, because that can mean, 500 people in your region or whatever, they're still your neighbors. I think Jesus said everybody was our neighbor, so I don't find that to be untrue either. If they say which one of your neighbors, just say, hey, look around, it's going up everywhere. Many of your neighbors just received more than $18,000 from the federal government for going solar. We're talking about the tax credit. If they ask, you can explain exactly what that means. We're going to be out in your specific area for the next few days, speaking with many of your neighbors. We are distributing free proposals. There's armies of door knockers all over the country. So this is also true. What this proposal is going to show you is how much money you'll be getting from the government, and that you'll not be spending a penny to go solar. Now, obviously, guys, if you're pitching a lease, you may want to tweak this a little bit, but this is kind of geared more toward the loans. If I could show you a way, now this is an important part here. If I could show you a way how to prevent your bill from doubling and save you $100,000 in the process, would you be opposed to taking a look? And, Mike says that we want to get them to say no here. Because if we can get them to say no, they feel like they're in control of the call, like they're telling us no. So, okay, so we want them to say no to that. Then I'll have somebody drop by tomorrow, had a 6 p.m. sound, or we can do 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., like that. And then here it is. It's just, set the time and date. I put the note in here to say less. Don't overcomplicate this. Selling solar appointments is easy money. So at that point, you just confirm. So you are the homeowner, right? I have your name is John Smith. I show your address as 123 Main Street. Your credit is pretty good, right? If they say yes, say great, you may qualify, then mark it down as good credit and move on. Again, don't overcomplicate this. Setting solar appointments is easy money. If they say no, make sure that they have at least a 650 credit score or above, and that or that they're going to have a co-signer, at the meeting with a 650 or above, unless you have some other type of threshold. Is there a spouse or a significant other who helps to make decisions with this kind of thing? So this is a fine question, and I think it's an important one. If there's more than one person, make sure to get the first name of the other person. Ask for both people to be present. If they say why, say we just want to make sure that everyone who's involved in the decision-making process is present during the meeting, so we can explain the Zero Down Solar program to both of you firsthand. And then here you would just say your telephone or in-home appointment will be tomorrow at 6. Again, your telephone appointment will be tomorrow at 6. Or if it's in home, once again, your in-home appointment tomorrow at 6. So I suggest that you repeat it 3 times. Really appreciate your time and have a good one. And I would just use your own words based on the contents. I don't think you should lie to people. I think that these are all true statements. And that's our script. It's pretty basic. And if you use this, you'll make appointments. But you know what's funny is every script we try, we always make appointments. Like I feel like this one works a little bit better than the last one we had. But we had a script that it was like, yes, hello, Mr. Smith. Hey, I've only got a minute. Just calling to see if you've already got your solar panels installed. And that worked really well. We got, appointments from that. I feel like we're getting more appointments from this, referring to ourselves as an owner. And I would suggest you give it a shot. But, what we found is pretty much any kind of script that we're using will work to set appointments. I mean, solar's a trending thing. So if you get out there and you get enough contacts made, you're going to get solar appointments. The trick is then to get them to sit down. Everybody's seeing a lower sit down rate than used to be. Like in 2022, it was better. In 2023, you've got to make more appointments to get sits. That's just industry wide from everybody I talk to. So you got to make a lot more appointments, and don't get bummed out when they're not showing up. And if you're going to do the virtual stuff, you really have to be pretty good at sending your follow-ups and everything. Traditionally, when we were making these for just door knockers or people that go into the homes, we would just leave it right here. You don't touch it. After this, it's done. Just go have the person knock the door at the time of the meeting. We would not even so much as send a text message to remind them at all, because now the appointment is set. Just go have the door knocker to go knock the door at the time of the meeting. And so much so that if somebody would text to cancel, we would ignore the text and show up anyway. I've literally had Mike do that because he wants to get his foot in the door. Well, now when you're trying to do virtual stuff, that doesn't work. And if you don't do some kind of a follow-up after you set the appointment, you're less likely to get them to sit at all. So if you're doing virtual appointments, I suggest you throw them into some kind of a text message or email sequence. So that way, your appointments stick. Obviously it gives them an out. Now they have a way to respond to you and cancel the appointment, but it just it's worth doing that when you're talking about virtual appointments. And now, even for the in-home appointments, where there's a lot of follow-up going out before the actual meeting. So I don't know how you guys feel about that as far as actually sending text and emails to remind them about the appointment, several times before the meeting. In a perfect world, it wouldn't be. It would just be set the appointment and have the rep show up to the door. But just in an effort to get more sits, I think it's probably now a better idea to send emails and text messages before the meeting. But that's pretty much our script. I don't know what else you guys might like me to go into. I could talk to you about dialers and stuff and auto dialing. Are you interested in hearing about like auto dialers and how to do that, or where do you want me to go with this, Bo and Anthony?
Yeah, I think jump into those auto dialers. I think that'd be a good other stepping point. If
I
anyone else
do
has
see a
other
rebuttal
questions.
section too.
Yeah, there's some rebuttals on
Yeah,
there
do you
for
have?
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was gonna
definitely.
say that. Maybe if we could run through that a little bit too.
100%. So I'm glad you brought that up. So guys, if you're gonna do auto dialing at all, or if you're gonna do cold calling at all, just in general, you've got to call the people on the DNC list. And hope I don't get kicked off here for saying this, but it's just the reality. You're gonna have to bend the rules, and everybody does it. Fusion does it. Sunrun does it. Everyone calls the DNC numbers, and you have to also. If you're not comfortable doing that, you might as well just stick to knocking doors. And here's how you do that, though. You don't ever give your real name or your real company name. I've already discussed this with telemarketing lawyers. You just don't. And you got to be smart about how you're doing this, or you're going to get people sending you demand letters. And believe me, I've been through all this. I've paid out of court twice. And, I want to prevent that from happening to you. So when you're making cold calls at all, don't say your first and last name or your company name, even though you're really proud of it. And I understand all that. Just don't do it. Use either the Zero Down Solar program or whatever you can come up with, the Green Initiative or anything that you can create. And use that, because if you use your company name when you're making phone calls, it's just a Google search away to find your address and stuff, your mailbox is going to be full of demand letters for money. And now it's kind of a trending thing to sue or threaten to sue. I won't say that most of this stuff ever goes to court, because most of it doesn't. Most of it's just garbage. But there's a trending movement to threaten to sue telemarketers, and there's all these different templates you can download and apps you can download on your phone that have PDFs that you can print out about what to send a telemarketing company to shake them down and try to get them to pay money. And you can go and Google this after we get off this call and research and watch all the YouTube videos about the people who want to scam the telemarketers. In my opinion, they're the scammers, and it's not us that's scamming, it's them. But like I said, I've paid out of court twice, and hindsight, I wouldn't have, if I'd have been operating a little bit differently. I've learned the hard way. So, use the Zero Down Solar program. So when they're saying, hey, what's the name of your company? Just pivot and say, actually, sir, we're the Zero Down Solar program. We're a survey team. And because, technically surveys are allowed to go out to DNC calls or to DNC numbers. Now, and it's true. I mean, we're asking them questions, guys. I mean, even down to what time and date would you be willing to perhaps look at solar can be spun into saying that's a survey. Do I think that would really hold up in front of a judge? No, I don't think so, because they're going to say, well, no, you're really making money off of this and whatever. I mean, if you want to get technical with it, like Telecentric doesn't ever make any money. It just forwards the money on to my other company. I'm sorry, it forwards the information onto my other company in Arizona, and then I pass those appointments out. So you might be able to say, hey, you're really a survey company if you have two separate entities and all that kind of thing. But in the reality, you don't want to give your name out. And I'm hammering on that point, guys, because I really want to save you a bunch of heartache. If you're going to get involved in making appointments over the phone, you're going to get demand letters, period, no matter what. I promise you it will happen if you're giving out your real information. And you're not lying to anybody. So just get that out of your head, like, oh, I'm lying or I'm being an unethical person. Look, if you're scamming people, you're taking old people's money, you're into all that garbage, that's one thing. If you're setting solar appointments, that's an ethical thing to do. And you're going to have to bend the rules, or just don't do it at all. So, yeah, we're the Zero Down Solar program. We're a survey team. Where are you located? Whatever you want to say there. We're located in Arizona, but we cater to many states. Are you calling from offshore? They might pick up an accent. Well, yeah, our job is to pre-qualify homeowners to set solar appointments. We are calling from offshore. You can say that. Where did you get my number? Well, you may have clicked a solar ad. If it's a warm list or if it's a homeowner list, just say, hey, I got it from the internet. What type of roof do you cater, or what type of solar system do you have? Rooftop and ground mount. Why solar? By transitioning into solar, you may no longer be subjected to the constant rate hikes of your utility company. I mean, basic stuff, guys. You probably have better rebuttals than these. It's a numbers game. At the end of the day, it's just grinding calls. That's what it comes down to. Hundreds of thousands of calls are going out all the time from this call center. And that's what it takes to get, a lot of solar appointments. Which programs do I qualify for? That would be something to talk to the solar expert about. What time would be best for you? I don't qualify to get solar. Well, I understand there's a lot of solar companies with different criteria. Let me ask you a few questions to see if you may qualify. I have a lot of trees or shading issues. Well, I totally hear you on that. But if you're open for trimming or cutting down the trees, we can send out a solar expert to further check the situation. Can you send me an email? Unfortunately, we don't do that, but we can set up a phone appointment at the time of your convenience. We'll be available around this time. Can you give me a quote over the phone? Well, I have no way of knowing that or doing that. If you'd like, we can set up a phone appointment for tomorrow, this time in the morning or in the afternoon. What would be better for you? Now, on most campaigns, phone appointments sell at a much lower rate. Push for an in-home appointment whenever possible, unless otherwise instructed by the campaign manager. That was just a note from my call center because we push for in-home appointments all the time. We do have a Sunrun guy that we're working with that's purely virtual. The property is under my wife or husband's name, and I can't decide for myself. Not a problem. What day will you? What day would be good for both of you guys? Let's see. We just want to make sure that everybody's involved in the decision-making process. Said that one earlier. I already have a quote. Great. How long ago is that? Since you had an estimate, we may be able to give you a better price. One thing, guys, is I am totally willing to, grab a deal. If somebody's already signed a contract, I will so be all over that. And some people think that's really unethical. I think it's totally fine. It's business. Hey, I just signed a solar contract. They're going to be installing it. Okay, well, are the panels on your roof? Nope. Okay, cool. We're going to come out and beat that quote. We love that kind of stuff, and so do the people that I work with. So if you've got a signed deal, watch out, because Telecentric might come in there and no, I'm just kidding, but it's this reality, guys. If somebody signed a solar quote, go out and save them. Maybe they're paying way too much. Just go out and compare and see if you can get them out of that other deal. It's totally fine. This week is not good for me. No worries. We can work around your schedule. How about next week? Work like 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. in the evening. I need a new roof. Well, thank you that you brought that up. In some cases, we offer solar plus roofing packages. Do you cater any type of roof? Well, we may. We can send out our solar expert to your place if you're available around this time. Let's see. I don't want any solar on my roof. Well, I understand we do have ground mounted systems. My house is a manufactured home. Well, I totally understand. In some cases, we do cater to manufactured homes. Do you own the land? Is it a double wide? Is the property worth at least 50,000? Is it on a concrete foundation, or is it strapped to the ground? I want to put solar on my carport, patio, or barn. Well, not a problem. We can put solar on a carport, patio, or barn as long as the structure is already sound and if we can get permits. So we can take a look at each situation. You have bad credit. I understand you have somebody that can be a cosigner. Does your cosigner have at least a 650 or 600 score? I don't want to use my credit. Well, I understand. We do cash deals if you don't want to use your credit. Do you have enough cash set aside for solar? I haven't checked my credit score. Not a problem. We can do a credit check during the meeting. It'll be up to you if you guys want to do that. Is it okay with you? That's a good question. Let's see. How much will it cost? I have no way of knowing that. We can have one of our solar experts visit your place to further assist you. How long ago did you have a consultation? We may be able to give you a better price. Are you working the electric provider? No, we're a private program and our job is to pre-qualify homeowners to set solar appointments. Are you working the government? No. Once again, we're a private program and our job is to pre-qualify homeowners and set solar appointments. So that's pretty much just some basic stuff. And like I said, you probably have some better rebuttals than even us because you guys are selling the solar. So you know how to talk to the customers. And it's always good when the sales guys are setting appointments for themselves as well, because you can get more into detail. I mean, to be a solar appointment setting company and a leads company like me, it has some limitations because we're not actually following through. We were doing appointments for Lone Star in Texas, and he was listening to some of our calls, and he was like, geez, Jess, I'm so sad that you guys just didn't take this particular call all the way to sale, because he was ready to sign right on the phone. And I was like, yeah, I know. Maybe we should close deals, but right now we're still an appointment setting company, and I think that's where we're going to focus. But if you guys are actually the solar salespeople, you can get opportunities where it's like, hey, you can take it a little farther. But at the same time, I think there's value in making an appointment and keeping it pretty limited on that initial call, so that way you can set an actual meeting. Because if you give them all the information up front, they might have enough information to just say, get off the phone and tell you they're going to think about it or something like that. But if you can set a meeting, get a commitment to, you know, get on that meeting, then that's a lot better situation. So you can go ahead and actually do the work of closing the deal. Scripts, keys to success, you know, and then I got the VC tutorials in here. So any other questions about that stuff, guys, before I move on to like how an auto dialer works?
I just wanted to say I thought your rebuttals were great because the point is always to going back to the appointment, the credit, whatever. I thought that was perfectly worded to get to the appointment. I was curious for your call center, how many calls does it take to set an appointment? And then of the appointments that you get, do you guys track with the sales reps how many of the appointments you set actually sit? Do you have those
Oh, yeah.
stats?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, if you're really good at it, like me, I mean, I made 80 calls and got 4 appointments the other day. But, and I've got another guy that's really good in here as well. So he might get through 300-400 calls and get 9 appointments. But like an average call center rep, you know, they might be getting 2 a day out of 300 calls, like 300 calls, 2 a day. And that's pretty normal. In that kind of a scenario, auto dialed calls and that kind of thing. But if you are more experienced and you actually sell the solar, I think that with your experience and the ability to talk to people, you should probably be closer to like me, where you can make 80 calls and get 4. Especially if you're talking about calling either aged solar leads, people who have recently clicked a solar ad. But you know what I find even now is that homeowner data performs pretty well, and you can even get homeowner data to perform as well as solar opt-in leads in certain cases. So it just depends. But yeah, I would say for an average call center rep, like 2 out of 300 calls is pretty normal. If you're a superstar like Darvin, you know, you can get like 9 out of 300 calls. For me, the other day I sat down and made calls, got 4. And I mean, fuck guys, I mean, excuse my language, but we're seeing less than a 50% sit down rate. And I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, maybe 30% are sitting down right now, but everybody's having the same problem. I mean, I've got a guy that I sold a dialer to, and he does appointments for people in California, and they're seeing the same thing. I mean, the sit down rate is low. Even Mr. O'Donnell over at Sun Solar Solutions on their door knock appointments, they're seeing like 50% or so. And they used to see more than that. So I would say, you know, it's like I tell my people that come to work here, and I'm like, if you're working in a dental office and you're the scheduler and you schedule 10 appointments and only like, you know, 2 of them show up, do you think that you know, the owner of the dental office is going to like be happy with you, or do you think there's something wrong? And they always say, well, no, that would be really low. And they always and I ask them, how many do you think should show up out of 10 dental appointments? How many people do you think will show up? And they'll say like, well, 7 or 8. And I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't happen in solar. We want to shoot for at least a 50% sit down rate and higher. But if we get a 30% sit down rate, we're making money. Like if we can get at least a 30% sit down rate. So that's our standard. And I tell people here that if they don't have a 30% sit rate, I'm going to fire them. You know, because they're just sending appointments that aren't solid enough. So I think in a call center, you want to strive for 50-60%. If you can get 30%, you're still making money. I mean, shit, if you've got 1 or 2 sitting down and you're closing them, you're still making money. But, you know, obviously you don't want to do that. And you want to be at least 30% from a call center, you know.
To clarify, like I saw your website, it looked like, at least the site I saw, it was showing that you were selling leads. Are you selling appointments for reps, or are you selling leads, or both?
We do both, but I don't want to come on this Zoom and tell you guys that we're selling appointments for everybody, because that is a service-based business. And as you can see, my operation is still small. I've only got people dialing in this room, and I've got 1 person dialing in the other room, and I've got a VC tech in the other room. So I've got a lot of space here to scale, but we're pretty much maxed out on the appointment setting service. And we've got some good clients that I like. But as we expand, well, for sure, in 2022, I made the mistake of taking on 50 appointment setting clients in a very short amount of time. The good thing was I did not charge them a retainer, and I did not charge them anything at all for the labor. I just made them buy data, and then we would call the data. So it was actually fine because they got to keep the data, but we couldn't deliver for 50, and we can't deliver for 50 now. We could probably deliver for 4 or 5 reliably. So we do appointments, and that's a core part of our business, but you know, we have to see if we can make some more room. Now, like if somebody wants to say, hey, we want to work with you, I've got room to expand. So for an example, I had a guy that wants to work with me, and I'm same story. So he sent me 10 grand and said, "Hey, I'm going to buy a bunch of data from you." And we're like, "Well, we're going to call for you then because you spent all this money on data." So, and we're calling for him, and he just closed one of our deals. So typically, the way that I work is, if I'm going to, now that we have this office, I can do this. I can say, "Hey, look, I can put people in the other room, buy enough data from me. I'll use that money to go hire people, put more computers up, give me like a week to make it happen." Then we can expand. That's the whole point of having the extra office space. But yeah, you would have to buy data. You would get a copy of the data, and you'd get it at a discounted price even, because and then we charge on the back end. So, for example, that guy, he bought $10,000 of data. He got a copy of it, and that would be the right price for the data, actually a lower price. So even if, because I sell a ton of solar leads and homeowner data to people that we don't do the service for at all. They just take it and use it in their own call center. And if somebody's buying, $10,000, or like I give it to him for 30 cents a record. So he got 33,000 for 10 grand, and I start at 90 cents a record on those things. But if somebody's going to spend a decent amount of money, I give him a deal, and he got all the data already. So even if we never set one solar appointment, like he got a better deal than what he'd have got from Jack or from the leads warehouse on those Jeremiah solar leads, and we're good. But I want to make more money, and so does he. So now we have a commitment that, well, since you spent 10 grand with me and I've got some margin in that deal, I'm going to go hire employees and we're going to make calls for you. And it's working out. So that's the way that I can go and scale without charging hourly or retainers. Because I never wanted, I wouldn't say never, but I don't think I want to get into charging hourly or retainers. It's just not the way that I want to do it. I want to charge on the back end. So do a data sale. He gets his data. He's already got everything he's paid for, but then have the arrangement where now we're going to call that data for you on a commission basis of 25 cents a watt is what we're charging him. So, 2,500 per 10 kilowatts sold. Everybody's happy. We can all make money like that. There's other call centers out there that are doing it for hourly or per sit and all this kind of stuff. And I know that a lot of people end up getting burned. They spend money on hourly and stuff, and it just doesn't work out. But if we're working on a commission basis, I think everybody can, work out pretty well in that kind of a situation.
Jesse, do you have a minimum ad spend or a minimum spend just for data or leads or appointments?
Yeah, so great question. So we're not running any ads. What we're doing is we're selling Experian homeowner data, and we're selling aged solar leads. So in both cases, I'm brokering the stuff, but I've got really good deals on it. So I can give you better pricing than most vendors. And when you price me out, you'll see that I do have better pricing, but I am not the originator of the leads. I am reselling those. It's a minimum order of $500 for the homeowner data and a minimum order of $900 for the solar opt-in leads. And I charge 90 cents a record for the minimum order, but on first time buyers, I'm giving them double that. So I'm actually literally getting them for 45 cents. And usually I want people to spend, at least enough to get 4,500. I mean, I'll always change the prices and make deals with people, whatever their budget is. But if you want like 10,000 of them, that'd be 4,500. If you want 30,000 of them, I can get the price all the way down to 30 cents, like I just did for Brian. 30 cents is like my bottom though. And if you're only going to spend $1,000, well, they're usually 90 cents. And, but I can drop the price in certain circumstances if you're buying more, or if you're doing a homeowner data and a leads order package all together. Bottom line, I make my own pricing and nothing is set. So I have the pricing on the website. I know what my margins are, and I can give you a deal based on your budget and how much you're going to buy. And I always, give everybody a different price because people are in different situations and whatever. So I usually don't charge anybody the full 90 cents. That's just where I start at. And it's kind of like selling solar. You all are starting high and then you're coming down and meeting people where they're at and figuring things out. But even at 90 cents, I'm beating Jack, I'm beating the leads warehouse, even where I start. So then when we come down from there and get you guys some leads, it's like a phenomenal deal. And that is my core business, is leads and data and dialers. The solar appointment setting job makes less money than the other stuff, which is weird because I used to make all my money setting solar appointments. And now I make like 85% of my money selling leads, data, and dialers. That business is blown up, and I have 40 dialer customers and stuff. So other call centers get their dialers and their VoIP minutes from me. And so I've got a guy in the Philippines that develops the dialers, and we buy minutes from him, and then we do the homeowner data and the leads, and it can work out really well for you. So that's, you know, why we're telecentric. It says our focus is calls. So any way we can help you. And we sell to debt guys, we sell to other verticals besides solar, but solar is like the majority of our customer base for sure. Because that's
So
where I come from.
are you
So-
selling data? Are you selling data to the solar guys as well? Or are you just selling leads to the solar guys, age leads?
and data is huge, man. There's a lot of guys that come back to me, you know, regular customers, and they keep buying more and more homeowner data, and they like, you know, calling homeowner data over solar leads. I just had Kelly Wilson come back to me, not Kelly, Max something or other in New Jersey. Kelly just bought data from me as well, but Max something or other out in New Jersey, and he just texted me and he said, look, dude, if it wasn't for you, my business wouldn't exist. And they're doing like 20 deals a month on homeowner data that they're buying from me. So homeowner data is great. It's cheap, and you can get a lot of it, and it's just good stuff. The aged solar tend to be a little bit more beat up by the solar guys, because they do get passed around. They're not exclusive. When I get them, they're already in second position, and it's the same story that you're going to get from everybody else, whether they're telling you the truth or not. None of this stuff is TCPA compliant. None of it is exclusive. There is no such thing as an exclusive aged solar lead. It doesn't exist. It's all been passed around. So I get it in second position. And then the guy that got it before me, he's probably going to sell it again. The guy that gets it after me might sell it again. So the aged solar leads tend to be a little bit more beat up. But even with that being said, they tend to convert a little bit faster than just cold homeowner data. But if you got like an auto dialer where you can hop in and dial 30 lines at a time, you know, homeowner leads can be great, and you can just pop them in there and, you know, make a lot of contact. I feel like if you're able to make the contacts, if you can get somebody live on the phone, and that's the trick anymore, is, you know, getting the connected calls because of all the spam blockers and stuff. But if you can get the connected calls, it doesn't matter if it's a homeowner or an aged solar lead, you're going to make solar appointments if you have a pretty good pitch. It's just like knocking the doors. Those people didn't click an aged solar ad or a solar ad. So I like it both. We're calling a blend. In this call center, we blend the stuff that we sell. And it's like Jack resells the stuff. I typically don't resell it. I just blend it in with my call center. If it's a market that I care about, I'll take all the stuff that I've sold and just blend it with homeowner data, and we'll call it. And I'm totally transparent about that. And if people don't like it, they can't buy from me. I don't care. But we're going to call it after I sell it if it's a market that I care about. And everybody else is going to call it too, because it's been sold and it's going to get sold again. That's the world of aged solar leads. But I like to blend the stuff. You know, you mix some aged solar leads with some homeowner data, mix it all together and throw it in. You can get a pretty good result.
So that brings up a
So
question I
what-
had, Jesse. Are you using the exact same script or pitch with the home data with the age leads?
I am, yeah.
Hey,
And
Jess,
and
what-
and at
Jess,
that
where do you
minimum,
usually, where do you usually, for the cost of your leads and the stuff to include the dialer, where's the minimum you usually start hitting it?
Like for a leads data dialer package,
Yeah,
I'm doing those for $4,500 right now on the dialer that doesn't need a server. So I just started with another. So I have a couple of dialer companies that I work with to make this happen. And the one that needs the server, I have to charge at least $6,500 to get that one going. And I'm not taking any more customers on for that one right now because there's been way too many bugs and hiccups. I made a video about it. We're all setting a lot of appointments with it, but it's just not worked out yet. The other guy I've been working with for like 2 years, I've sold 40 of those ones. And for that, it's $4,500 package. You know, you're going to get 10,000 solar opt-in leads, 300,000 homeowners, plus the VC dialer build out that allows you to call 30 lines at a time per agent. Your only hard monthly cost on that is $15, not per user, but $15 plus 0.0078 cents a minute. And I was trying to get the 6,000 for that, but I feel like it's too high. I feel like 6,000 is too high for that deal. So I'm literally just doing it for 4,500. And, you know, you'll get 300,000 homeowners, you'll get 10,000 solar leads, and you'll get the dialer with 10 seats. And then you'll have to pay $15 a month for the dialer plus 0.0078 cents a minute, which works out to about $100 a month per active user that's dialing pretty much full time. And so that's what it is. Now that dialer doesn't do any inbound. It does not have calls that are verified by the carrier. It's basically the way that works is it's got 300,000 auto rotating caller IDs that get switched out twice a day, and they're the carrier numbers. So it's like the AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile numbers that are disconnected, and that database of recently disconnected carrier numbers gets updated all the time. And so we've got it to where the guy here in the Philippines that does the programming, we've got it to where it pulls that information and it changes the caller IDs based on the recently disconnected carrier numbers. And so that's how we're able to get pretty good connections in spite of the fact that the calls are not verified by the carrier. It doesn't come through with a gray check mark. They're not stir and shake and compliant numbers. They still call, like they still make connections to calls. We're able to get a good amount of connected calls with this method. And it's been working for the last couple of years. It may not work forever. There may become a time where it's like, hey, if the call's not verified by the carrier, it's never gonna go through. But calls are still going through. This other dialer that we had built out, I got it directly from the carrier. When the calls go through, it has the gray check mark and all that stuff. It's way more expensive. It's $350 a month per server, and then you have to pay for DIDs, and then you have to pay for minutes, and then it's really expensive to set it up. Like he just told me, he's like, I'm not doing one for less than $5,000 hard cost. Period. And so that would be $5,000 plus my leads and everything else. So I don't really want to sell that one unless it's a big call center and they need that kind of thing. Plus there's just been a lot of bugs and hiccups with it. And it's been irritating to deal with and stuff like that. And it's a new relationship.
So if 4 or 5 of us get together, you said there's 10, there's 10, that includes 10. So like if 4 or 5 of us got together and want to go in on that, we could do something like that.
Well, sure, absolutely. I mean, that would be the way to do it. And for 4,500, I'm cheaper than anybody else out there for that type of a package. And I would say that, there's a ton of value there because you're going to have a work. And here's the thing, guys, nobody else is going to offer you an anonymous solution. So here's the reality. If you get a trace back, my guy in the Philippines doesn't know who you are. He doesn't have your credit card information. He has nothing about you except for your IP address. And if ever there is a trace back, he's sending them down a rabbit hole. He's not turning you over or me over or anybody else. And by the way, I know a lot about this. People are not getting trace backs and stuff for the DNC. If you're into sex trafficking, if you're into scamming old people for money and taking credit card numbers, that's where you get into trouble. Solar guys that are calling DNCs, nobody gives a care. Nobody cares. The people will threaten to sue you and they'll give you demand letters, but the actual government doesn't care at all. Like they don't have time to care. There's just too much of it going on. So, but with all that being said, you're still anonymous. Your credit card's not on file. You don't have to register for anti-spam. You don't have to go put your number in with the DNC registry. None of that shit. It's totally anonymous. And if you ever got a trace back, my guy in the Philippines is not handing me or you over. So that's why I like it. And, there's big names in solar. Rich Viola just called me and he's like, dude, I've been hearing you talk about your dialer. He's not a client of mine yet, but everybody, when they hear anonymous dialer, they're thinking twice, like, hey, maybe I need to take a listen to this because we're all doing it. We're all calling DNC numbers and we want to have our asses covered. Just like VPN offers anonymous, Jesse Brower offers anonymous dialer solutions out of the Philippines. So if you want something where you can fly under the radar and you can call the DNC numbers, I've got that solution. A lot of the dialers won't even allow you to call the DNC numbers. The calls won't connect. And you've got to do that. And we can prove and show you that most of the sales and appointments come from people on the DNC. It's like 70% of all the homeowners already have their number on the DNC. So if you're, with call tools and ready mode and they're blocking your calls from going through, you're winning a losing war at this point, unless you can find a solution that allows you to call the DNC numbers and to do so anonymously. Now, one thing is they can't call back. Once the call goes out, there is no callbacks. Nobody can call you back on these numbers. So if you're planning to follow up with them, I would just be careful how you're doing that. Use like a burner number or whatever. And when you go into an appointment, also, you need to have your emotional intelligence antenna up and understand, is this somebody who's baited me, or are they really interested in looking at solar? And it's so small. Why do I spend so much time on that stuff, guys? Because it does happen and it's real and you should know about it. But if you know about it and you do it right, you can go into this and you can call everybody, you can call all the numbers and make appointments. But when you're going to go ahead and get a lead and somebody sets that appointment, if they sound like they're just joshing you, like I said, have your emotional intelligence antenna up, see if it's really a lead go check the address against melissadata.com. Make sure it's all legit before you go ahead and give them any of your information. When you're 5-10 minutes into the presentation, you know you're talking to a live person, a real person that wants to hear about solar. Then you can talk about who does the installs. You can hand them your business card, or if it's a virtual, you can go into that. But when you are making mass telemarketing efforts, you need to be aware that you don't want to give any information out until you know you've got an actual prospect on the line that's planning to spend money with you, or at least willing to take a look. And everybody, Fusion sponsored SolarCon. And I know personally the call center manager at Fusion, they run like me. Everyone runs like me that knows what they're doing. And you have to, or you can't do it. So that's how it is. A lot of you guys that are smaller and just onesie twosies and stuff, and you're going to call tools in ready mode, it's just not going to work out, because it doesn't work like that. You know, you need to have a situation where you can call the DNC numbers, and that's just what it is.
So going back to your ad spend or the minimum spend on the age leads versus the data. For a person that puts in, let's say, 500 to 1,000, how much priority are you giving to that amount of, so, I mean, it's kind of peanuts in light of what you do in terms of your dialer and the cost for the dialer and the whole package. But if a person just wants to put in a 500 to $1,000, what kind of, I mean, talk about that just for a little bit.
Same priority as everybody else. We have same day delivery for the leads and the homeowner data. If you buy a dialer, you're going to get it back within 2 to 3 days, typically 2. It's gotten a little bit faster. So you're going to get the same exact priority and the same exact customer service as anybody else. When I said onesie twosie is not going to work, I'm saying if you go to call tools and they've got all these restrictions on you, and you can't even call the DNC numbers and stuff like that, it's not going to work, because you need to be able to do that. But same priority as everybody. I mean, if you're going to be a customer, you get the leads same day, you're going to get the dialer 2 days later, and you're going to be able to do it. So
So
Hey, Dana,
how many leads are you looking at for 500 to $1,000?
So for $500, I'll give you 50,000 homeowner records. So I'm a penny a piece on those, which is half price from all the other vendors. It's 4 times cheaper than consumer AI, and the data is just as good or better. This is Experian consumer data from June. I get 2 updates a year. This is from June. So July, August, so a couple months old, but it's still really good. And I'll probably get another update like every 6 months. I get an update. But 650 and above credit, 40,000 above income, single family home, verified homeowner, email address. That's 50,000 for 500. If you want 300,000, I'll do that for $2,000. I sell a lot of that one because some people want to get bulk in different areas and stuff. And then as far as the leads, you say how many you're going to get on a minimum order. So $900, and I'll give them to you at 45 cents on a first time order. It's like I have them listed at 90 cents just to, look like I'm where those other guys are. But the reality is that I'll do them for 45 cents. And it's the same lead. Josh King's got them at $3. Jack's got them at $1. The Leads Warehouse is going to try to get as close as they can to $1. Everybody does. Reality is I'm doing a lot. I've given my leads guy a couple $100,000. I've got my prices way down. I'll do them for 45 cents. And that's probably not going to charge you more than that at any point. So that's the reality. When you look at my website, it says 90 cents. I'm doing them for 45. And then I can bring them down from there if you're going to really order a bunch. But on a minimum order of 90 or of $900, you're talking about 45 cents. I think that's 2,000 leads on that. But I do a ton of big orders too. So $10,000 orders is a normal thing for me. So let's see.
I guess
so
I'm just trying to understand. So if I come to you and I have a $500 or $1,000, I mean, are you okay? So are you providing aged leads, or are you providing data, or there's a kind of a combination of the two?
Have to tell me, hey, I want homeowner data or I want aged leads. So for $900, I'll give you 2,000 of the aged leads. For $500, I'll give you 50,000 of the homeowners. And if you want to do a package deal, you can get them both. Maybe I'll give you a little discount on it or something.
Repeat that for me. You went kind of fast. Repeat those numbers.
Spend and you want aged solar leads, I'll give you 2,000. Okay. If you've got $500
for 500,
give you 50,000 homeowners because they're a penny a piece. Now, if you want both, I give you a little discount. You figure 900 plus 500 is 1,400. To probably do it for like 1,300 and give you the same thing: 2,000 solar leads and 50,000 homeowners, because you're packaging it together. But most people are either going to buy one or the other, or some will buy both. But yeah, it's two different things. Aged solar leads and verified homeowner data are both available. If you want to buy them together, usually give you a little discount.
Hey, Dana, you asked how he treats you different. I bought some data from Jesse, and he treats you just like he probably was with one of his top clients. He treats you like your king, and really helps you out and helps you get started, if that helps.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
So guys, the largest order I've done in 2023 was $36,000 on one Amex swipe for Solar Bear out in Florida. If anybody knows Solar Bear, they bought a ton of leads from me. A lot of guys are doing $5,000-$10,000 orders. I've got customers that have spent over 20 grand, but I'm always doing small orders as well. And I want to pick up as many small orders as I can, because then you guys are going to be doing big orders soon. If it works for you, you're going to scale. I mean, you're going to buy more and more and more. You're going to scale. So $500 for homeowners, let's do it. $900 for solar leads all day long. I mean, my average ticket, even though I've got all these different people buying big orders and stuff, my average ticket's only $2,000, because I still have a bunch of small buyers coming to me and getting leads, and that's totally fine. Everybody gets treated the same way. Leads are delivered the same day. Dialers within 2 to 3 days. And if you want to
Quick-
scale, man, guys want to do appointments and you want to buy at least like $10,000 of the data, like you're like, hey, I want to buy $10,000 of leads, but can you put some callers on? I'm going to take the margin on that and hire 3 or 4 callers, put them in the other room. We're going to do appointments for you for 25 cents a watt. So yeah, we can do appointments if you want to spend money. If you want to spend money on that and you want to get a bunch of leads, you're going to get a copy of the leads. You already got everything you paid for. I'm going to get a copy of the leads, and then we're going to go call them for you for 25 cents a watt. And then we can scale like that.
Quick question. Are you using a predictive dialer, or are they dialing one by one?
Yeah, so it's an auto dialer. So this part of this thing that you're seeing on the screen here, this is a VC dialer that we're using, and it allows each and every telemarketer to dial 30 lines at a time. We can actually go a little higher than that, but we've got the ones that we sell out at 30 lines at a time, and you need to crank it up because the calls are not verified by carrier. We're doing it a different way. So in order to get the calls to go out, you need to turn it all the way up. And that's what we do. I don't know if you guys know Krista Kiefer. She's coming to live on top of my call center next week for 5 weeks. If you guys have seen Krista, she's been using my dialer for a long time with my homeowner data for a long time. She made a lot of sales with that. So that's by turning it all the way up. So it's a predictive dialer, and that's how it works. It's just basically spamming the world with calls and connecting to people and setting solar appointments.
And as far as like appointments to actual like closed deal conversion rate, what does that look like on average?
All on the individual person. It's all over the place. We're getting about 30% sit down rate right now. That's what we're seeing is about 30. We want to be better. We want to strive for 50, 60. We're not. It's 30% of our appointments are making contact with the solar company. And then from there, it depends on the solar company. Maybe 1 in 10 is going to sell, 2 in 10 if they're good. I mean, it just all depends on really you at that point. I mean, but telemarketed appointments, if you can get 30% of a telemarketed appointments to sit down, I'd say you're doing okay. If you can do 50%, you're probably doing something really, really good.
Hey, Jesse,
then-
go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you, just as far as the dialer versus just, you're not obviously doing 30 lines, you're going to have a lot more connects and a lot more conversations than if you were just straight up dialing from a cell phone. Do you have any data as far as conversations per hour, dialer versus cell phone, just kind of like the differentiation? Probably, I mean, how many conversations do you think you could hit in an hour with a dialer like that?
A ton. So we track all that stuff on the dashboard, and you can see, how many contacts per hour. I mean, gosh, you can talk to a lot of people because it's got voicemail detection enabled. So, when you're hand dialing, you've got to listen to the ringing in your ear, and you've got to connect to voicemails, and that's just an archaic way to do it. With an auto dialer, it's got voicemail detection, and it's only connecting you to live humans, and it's doing it back to back to back. So you're getting calls and calls and calls. Some dialers are way faster at doing that than others. Sometimes you've got a 1 minute wait time, and people are freaking out about a 1 minute wait time. But if you think about it, a 1 minute wait time to be connected to live humans is still way, way, way more efficient than hand dialing, because it's going to take you, that long just to get to a voicemail and then have to hang it up and then go to the next one and get to another voicemail. So, but yeah, no, it's way more efficient. You're going to talk to maybe 20, 30 people an hour if, you're calling at the right time. If you're calling in the middle of the afternoon, it's definitely going to slow way down, and you're not going to be able to talk to as many people.
You think
Call in
30
the
an
evening.
hour with the dialer,
yeah.
you're saying?
But you want to call in the evening time. when people are home. You don't want to call it like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Like when we're having this meeting, it's the worst time to call. We call all the time because we're a call center. That's what we do. But if I was going to do this as an individual person, I would not start it until like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'd call till 9, 5 to 9. And then you're going to get connects. Or if you want to do early in the morning, you can start at 7 in the morning, like 7 to 9, 7 to 10, 7 to 10, 5 to 9, 7 to 10, 5 to 9 is good times to call. We're doing it all the time because that's our business, but because you're going to pick up appointments even in the off times. But I would call in the evening or early in the morning if you want to get more people on the line. I think 30 an hour is reasonable. You can get 30 an hour, and I don't think you're going to see that with your cell phone at all.
Makes sense. I want to run through the dialer, and then we'll call it. We're about 13 minutes after. I want to just kind of run through the dialer, just kind of show what that looks like, and then we call it a day.
Sure.
And thank you
So,
for
I
this
mean,
info, by the way, Jesse.
yeah, you're welcome. I mean, I didn't know if I was supposed to be pitching people, but this is great. I hope all you guys buy leads and stuff from me. So here's the VC dialer, and I mean, here's how you log into it. So can you guys hear the audio on that? No, I'm gonna reshare my screen. 1 second. 1 second here.
While you're pulling that up, Armando asked if you can specify the language of the homeowners. Like, I assume he's referring to Spanish speaking.
The username.
Absolutely.
All you have to do
Can
is
you
to
guys
paste the link.
see my screen and hear
We
my
hear
audio?
audio now.
See my screen? Me moving my mouse and stuff?
Yeah.
We see the screen, but it was highlighted earlier and now it's down back to.
All right. So now do you guys see where it says VC tutorials and my mouse is
Yeah.
moving?
Yeah, we see that.
Perfect. Yeah, so you can do English or Spanish on the solar leads and on the homeowner data. I haven't pushed the Spanish stuff as much, but I really need to start because I know there's a big market for that. Sure, if I spoke Spanish, I probably would be. So guys, this is how you literally log into the dialer. And you can hear the audio, right? Now, can you hear the guy talking in the video?
No.
Can't. Well, I wonder what the hell's going on. Let me try to see, because it says share sound. Okay. Bam, share sound and go. Now let's see.
Log into the VC
Do you hear the audio now? You do.
dialer.
Okay.
Got it.
So once you already have the login credential, that link that includes the password and the username, all you have to do is to paste the link on the URL area and press enter. So once you're ready on this page, choose the campaign that you'd like to call. So for example, Arizona. Click submit and wait for a voice prompt. So once you hear a voice
You are
prompt,
currently the only person in this
you
conference.
need to say that the VC dialer and the web phone are synced, and if this button goes to green, meaning to say you're good to call, and if you have something to do with, then go.
Okay. So, yeah, that was a guy that used to work with me and he shot these videos. But moral of the story is you get in here and then you just hit unpause and then the calls start flowing. Like, and if you get a dialer from me, I'm gonna do a 45-minute consultation. Well, my operations manager she'll teach you the software, she'll teach your telemarketers the software so that you can come in and use it. And that's pretty much what these are, is just little snippets of the training. But how to use the auto campaign, how to use the manual campaign, how to do a callback, choose the right disposition. I mean, we could go through all that if you want to, but I'm not sure that's the best use of our time right now to really teach you guys exactly how to use the software. Are any of you guys on VC yet right now? No.
No,
I mean,
not
if
yet.
you
No,
want me
not
to,
yet.
I can go through and teach you how to use it. But I think,
Yeah, would that be a different time?
yeah, if you guys want to, if you get a dialer, for sure, we're going to give you the full, 45-minute onboarding, and you get added to our support chat and everything else. So, but I really hope this helps, guys. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about just making contacts. You got to make a lot of calls really fast in order to get, anywhere with this. Hand dialing on the cell phone is, you can do it, but I mean, that's rough. I wouldn't do that. I get a dialer and go make it happen. So any other questions for me, guys?
Hey, Jess, is there any way you could post that script in the chat?
Absolutely. And this has also got all the videos and stuff in it too. So you can use that.
Great strategy with the DNC list. You know, I noticed that when I'm knocking doors, the people, a lot of times the no soliciting ones are the most likely to buy because they put no soliciting up because they're afraid you're going to sell them. They don't want to get sold. So they put no soliciting signs up because they know that they're likely to buy. I think the DNC sometimes it could be the same thing, is like they don't want to be sold to because they know they're weak and they're going to get sold. So that's
Yeah,
what I
no
think.
doubt. No doubt. And most of the sales and stuff are coming off the DNC list for sure. You know, there's lots of money to be made in it, guys. It's just going and making appointments. And like I said, the big companies are doing it. You just have to do it right. And then at the end of the day, what if one gets through? I mean, somebody baits you, they make an appointment and you really think it's great. And then you finally hand your business card over and they demand money. Okay, so settle with them for $1,500. And, you know, it's cost doing business. If you big enough, you know, it's probably going to happen eventually. But I mean, there's guys that are making tons of calls for like debt and stuff, like debt consolidation. And I mean, you know, they're probably paying 15, 20 grand a month in settlements, and they don't care because it's the cost of doing business. You're getting millions and millions of calls and you're getting, but don't focus on that. I mean, just do things the right way and you're probably not going to have any problem. By the right way, I mean, don't put your information out there, use the right kind of dialer. And then, you know, if somebody gets through the cracks, well, deal with it when it happens. It's worth the money that you're making. I mean, you're going to make 30, 40 grand a month if you're selling enough solar, right? So who cares about $1,500 if you have to settle with somebody, you know, twice a year? It's never going to court. I can assure you that.
So were you able to post the link in the chat?
Yeah. I think so.
Let's see.
Oh, it went to Tom. It went as a direct message to Tom.
Oh,
Let me see if I can pull it up as a everyone in meeting. Here, let's see. There you go.
cool.
So
Well,
text
yeah.
me, guys, if you wanna talk more, just text me the word leads and we'll get a conversation started. My phone number's in my name, right there in my thing there.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. No, yeah, appreciate the info, appreciate the insight for sure. And yeah, we can call it a day. Post his phone number in there. Appreciate that. Yeah.